Right, there we go. Right. Hello, everyone, to people just joining, to people who have been waiting, and to everyone watching things back on the VOD, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this. Hello, welcome back to another stream, and oh, hello, Dev. And welcome back to Game Dev Sunday, which it's been a little bit of time since the last Game Dev Sunday, and I apologize for that. I was gonna do it last week, but I didn't for a very specific reason. That being, I made a small, tinsy little prototype for the project, mainly to get oh, hello, Heater. Mainly to get feedback on like movement mechanics and so on and so forth. While I haven't gotten too much feedback, I at the very least, have a little enough to sort of action some of it, make some adjustments and whatnot. So yes. Now I thought I had something there. I thought I had something in my head there, and I completely lost it. My brain, it's been a long warm day at work, so apologies if I kind of lose the plot a little bit in terms of like trying to maintain a consistent train of thought. But yes. So one thing that I will be adjusting immediately, and this is something that was brought up. I also need to make sure that this window is properly, that window is properly open for that one. But yes, one thing that I need to adjust immediately is to do with the projectiles, and the reason why that I need to do this is because this is something that I never accounted for when I was testing things. So, with the player character, if you've been keeping up with the project, you would already know this, but if you haven't, or you have not been here for a while and can't remember, I'll update you on things. So, like, we have the player's ability to stomp, the player's ability to sprint, we have the ability to air dash, we have wall sliding, wall jumping, and so on and so forth. And also the ability to shoot projectiles, either by just clicking and it will just shoot it like forward, or if you click and hold, you can aim where it will be fired, and you can just do it that way. Now, what I had never accounted for was the possibility of the player walking into their projectile as it's moving. So let's just hold it and then... Okay, never mind. Okay, so in the editor it doesn't crash. However, from one of the people who played the prototype, and I think this is only a thing when it happens in like a built version of the project. If you walk into a projectile as the player, and it's a player fired projectile, the game will crash. And this is something that, because I was, doing all of this stuff in the editor the entire time, I never truly noticed this. And, well, the whole solution could just be, make the projectile just move faster so there's no possibility of the player just running into it at all, problem solved. I want to, at the very least, make sure that even if, like, in the very, very slim possibility that the player just decides to walk into their own projectile, that nothing happens. So we're going to start off by adjusting that. Now, if I go into blueprints... Oh wait, I accidentally clicked on enemy AI. Blueprints, projectiles... BP projectile, which is still like the only projectile object. It'd be funny if it bumped you. Yeah, it'd be funny if it bumped you. But I made it like an overlap and not a thing that you could collide with. So, I mean, we'll be looking at both like the blueprint side and the C++ side, just to sort of like go over things. Right, actually, I think I'll go over the C++ side things first. Wait, I did not open this class in the IDE. I should also close most of this stuff from the last time I was properly able to code anything before I shifted into the level design. It makes a funny face when your own projectile hits you. I could do that, but you take no damage or anything. Yeah, no, like, the whole point is that I want to, like, fix this problem. Actually, you know what? Before anything, I have the demo on my PC. Before I do anything, this might show up in the, like, if I open it up, this might show up. Or it won't, because I'm in the... Right, there we go. Okay. I only have it as Rat Platformer there for now. Right, so if I... Okay, no, apparently it didn't. Is it just on my PC where, like, this issue isn't present and it just happens on other systems because of the calc? I have no idea. I don't know what happens with this. So... But anyway, even if it's a case of it's device specific, I just want to minimize this as much as I possibly can. Let me pull up your thing. Yeah, you give it a go and try running into the projectile to see if it happens on your end, because I don't know if it's like a weird, like, device specific thing, or I'm going crazy, or I'm lucky. I have no idea. So... So, it's a bit of a unique problem. I'm just kind of... But yes, where was I before I decided to check that? Oh yeah, I was in the code. I was in the code looking at the projectile. And I need to find where the .cpp file is. Right. Okay. So base projectile. Apply gameplay effect to target, owning actor. Oh yes, right. Now I remember. It's set owning actor. Okay, so it's in the .h file and not in the .cpp. Right. So in any instance where a projectile is spawned at the current stage in the project, either when the... So if I... Where is start at stop attack, handle player throw. Ew, what the fuck? What happened? Twitch changed the pop-up. Really? Also, it's also hard to find now. Really? That doesn't sound great at all. But yes, so in any case where a projectile is spawned, such as when the player is throwing their projectile and so on and so forth, after we spawn the projectile actor, we call the set owning actor to basically set this player, or in the enemy's case, set an enemy as the owning actor, before setting its velocity and whatnot. And then on the other side of things, in the blueprints, we're using this owning actor variable to check whether or not the object that this hits is basically the same as its owning actor. If it's not the owning actor, then we want to do stuff to it. Otherwise, At the moment, it doesn't do anything. Now, I'm wondering if this, like, this part of, like, the logic is where this crash can potentially happen. Hey. Oh, hey there. So yeah, although they say it happens, and it happens when walking into a projectile, I'm not 100, like, I haven't experienced it, like, so you're not getting a crash either, really? Okay, so it might just be like, a nothing issue and just a weird, like, issue, like, device-specific issue. I have no idea. But that's so weird. That's super weird. Unless it's like... No, it can't be that they're instantly, like... Hold on, actually, I haven't tried, like... Okay, no, so running into it... Watch your debugging. I'm trying to figure out whether or not, an issue that, someone, made me aware of in the prototype for this project, is actually happening. Because I noticed that it wasn't happening on my end. I got Heater to, essentially double check for me, as well at the same time. And apparently, nothing happened on his end either. So, I'm genuinely kind of confused where it came from. So, perhaps maybe I don't even need to, sort of look into that. Perhaps I don't even need to try and, like, change things. But anyway, the next thing that I would need to look through is the feedback that I received on the Google form, for this. So... Okay, so... While some of the changes that I would need to... Or that I say I would need to make, that I'm going to make based on the feedback, is it anonymous? Maybe if they have an email or rich account, you could ask them for some follow-ups. Oh no, I know specifically the person who raised who essentially made me aware of the error. It was Zazel. It was Zazel who let me know about this. So apparently they also said, like, oh, wait, I found it. I found it! Okay. So, we have found the error. I found the error. I also forgot to switch back. I found the error. I managed to make it happen. So there was another part of things that they made me aware of. They said it was easier to replicate if I was quickly pressing the projectile button. There we go. Right. Right, so we found out exactly how to cause the error. And that's spam clicking the projectile button. So maybe it's not... It might not be a getting hit thing. It might... It's... But then I have to wonder, what could it be? let me think. So I need to make sure is... Yeah, Opera's audio is coming through fine. Like, if I... Like, normally it's just perfectly fine if I'm just, like, firing things out like this. It might be the projectiles... Exception, access violation... Handle player throw... Yeah, whilst moving. It might be the projectiles colliding with each other. It may not like spawning projectiles inside of each other. Though... Oh, wait, I accidentally clicked close. I did not click reopen. Whoops! Right, I just need to... No, you know what? Actually, I can just run debug on the project and see what happens. I'll run the project in debug mode. Though I think I should have changed it to debug game config before anything. It won't fix my problems, but it will help me monitor things closely. Though I feel like if it's a crash, then... Though... Oh yeah, no, like, that's literally what I just thought about. The thing is that the one thing that I had never, like, this should be just standard practice whenever I'm making a check like this, but I had not stuck an is valid variable or an is valid check for the owning actor, and I really should have done that a lot sooner. I don't know why I didn't think about it at the time. It was a bit silly for me not to do that. So... is valid... Oh, wait. No, that's the wrong one. There's two types of is valid, and one of them is just a pure function that returns a boolean. Because the way I've just realized it, because I think in the instant, like, for sure, like, it doesn't take too long to assign the the owning actor variable after it spawned, but in the instant where it's just being spawned just before that value is set, then of course that variable at that point is a null pointer. So because... Oh, wait, whoops. Okay, I forgot that why is this... Okay, I need to get out of debug mode. Because this did not help. It showed me the disassembly. I don't know why. I just clicked play. For some reason, like, I might have had it set incorrectly. But I might actually... I'm confused. I've never had it just show me the assembly code, like, after clicking play in debug mode. Also, thank you for that heater. But yeah, no, let me double check, because I did compile... I did not save it. It did not save it. I forgot to save it before I did that. The one thing that you should never forget to do, make sure you save before you do anything that either causes a crash or makes you, or essentially forces you to close and reopen the engine. Right, so now that there is an is valid check on the projectiles... Okay, it seems to be fixed. Doing the same thing as I was doing before, but now with the is valid check, it's not, you know, crashing when the two projectiles overlap on the instant that the second one spawns. Right. Okay. Cool. Now, to essentially double check and prove things once and for all, let's disconnect this pin from the is valid and just automatically connect it back to the branch again, just to essentially verify. Yes. I was already certain of it, but this is just to prove a point. So now we know that if you're just very rapidly spawning projectiles while moving, make sure you have an is valid check if you're trying to set an owning actor for an object. Because if two of the same thing overlap the instant a second one spawns, then that variable most likely will not be valid yet. So, make sure that happens. Right, okay, so okay, so I'm skimming over the feedback that I got on the Google form. A slight bit. Okay, so while I could always just, you know, make some of the changes that I'm going to make in the blueprints themselves, I prefer just having some of the stuff that I'm going to do hard-coded in anyway. So, yes. Although some of them will need to be adjusted in the blueprints, so now, if I go all the way up to the... Where is the FOV? Set, interp, FOV. Camera sprint, FOV. Camera default, FOV. Just to make sure I have not set it anywhere right. So it's literally... Okay, never mind. These two variables, camera sprint and camera default FOV, are both set in Blueprint rather than being set within the constructor section there. So... the wall check radius, wall slide rate... Right, the wall slide rate is... So wall slide rate... Yep. Okay, now I remember. Right, so this... So one of... Okay, I'm getting my brain all split across so many things. I need to slow down. I need to take a bit of a breath. And I need to slow down. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Whew. It's been one of those days at work where a lot happens. Not in, like, a bad way, but, like, in a sort of, wow, I'm doing a lot and moving from one thing to the next, and then suddenly I've got so many people coming in because I'm on tills, and it's a rush because it's a very nice day. But yeah, okay, I'm good now. Right, so if we go into the player blueprint, because this was one of the... Jesus Christ, why is it so hot? I'm dying out here. What's the temperature of the UK heat wave? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's like 19 where I am at the moment. But it was fucking, like, the highest it got yesterday was 27, and then at night it was like 25, 24 or so. So I had to have my fan on last night. At the very least, I don't really need it on tonight, but I'll probably turn it on in a bit so I don't, like, drown in my own sweat too much. It's 23 there. I live on the top floor of a build. Oh, so a case of, like, the air doesn't really get up there. Okay, so, one of the bits of feedback, heat rises, but your heat, you're rising? What's he rising to? Yes, one of the points of feedback that I received, from the prototype so far is to do with the field of view of the camera. Now, one thing, plus the roof gets cooked all day, I open up a cold water tap and I get warm water. Oh, don't get me started. Here's the thing, like, when it gets to, like, spring and autumn, in terms of, like, the taps and whatnot, because of, you know, how the weather affects the pipes and all that jazz, like the water, like, the warm water and the cold water is decently okay. However, when it gets to the summer, like, the warm water gets, like, hot, like, very, very quickly, and honestly reaches a peak that the warm water does not reach in the winter because of how cold the pipes get. Like, the cold water's bloody fine. It's the bloody pipe for the hot water, I swear to God. And then in terms of just, like, being in a place where, like, the air doesn't reach and whatnot, I had that last summer, when my work was, like, in the old building that we used to be in up until, February, this year. Because in that building, air really just could not travel up to the second floor, like, because it was, like, a ground floor and then, like, a first floor. The air just did not reach upstairs at all. And because most of my time last summer at my job was spent working upstairs, more often than not, I just feel myself absolutely just melting working up there. It got to the point where, because our aircon in that old building didn't really work that well, we had to, like, stick a whole bunch of, like, oscillating fans up there, like, in multiple spots, mind you, and have them sort of, like, just turning from left to right just to make sure the air was being spread across the floor. Last year I had a fan going non-stop 24/7. Jesus Christ. Like, and it was still like 30 plus degrees. Jesus! Now, the thing is, like, I got myself a few things, especially when, oh, God. I feel like some of my problems in my room at night, definitely because, one, it's insulated fairly well. I never really felt myself getting cold during the winter, because of how fairly, like, your fan's been on all day, gaming yeah, no, like, I thought PCs could get very hot, gaming laptops are just like an absolute furnace. To be fair, like, most of the time, I only use my laptop when I go to my gaming laptop when I go to the library, and even then, that's just for doing work and whatnot. But yeah, but besides the point, like, in the winter, like, I didn't really get cold because, one, this room is insulated fairly well. Two, it's just, my room is basically a box. There isn't much room for, like, warm, like, the heat to escape in this room in the winter. Which, you know, kind of works to my detriment in the summer, but, that's besides the point. And three, because I have my PC in this room, and this PC gets, like, fairly warm. Not because of, like, any underlying problems or anything, it just gets fairly warm. So, I definitely say that in the summer, because of how enclosed this space is, my PC is definitely a cause of, oh god, this is why the temperature's rising. But yeah, last summer I made the investment of, one, getting myself a little rechargeable neck fan, and two, a little, like, a neck cooling thing that's like a little... It's basically just like an ice block, but for your neck, like, that you could put around your neck. And you just put it, like, on there for, like, a little bit of time, and after it, like, kind of thaws itself out and whatnot, then you just put it back in the freezer and then just sort of, like, wait for it to freeze up again. But this summer, I remembered that there was this big fan that we had in the living room that we hadn't used for ages, and I thought to myself, well, why don't I just stick that in my room? So I stuck that on the side table next to me, not on my desk because I don't have room on my desk for it, but I stuck it on the side table, like on the drawers next to me, and that's just an absolute lifesaver. This fan is fucking great. I don't really know many fans that have a wooden, like, center and wooden fan blades. I have a USB keyboard plugged in, otherwise my... Yeah, no. I know, like... I know how warm laptop keyboards can get. I know how warm they can get. But yeah, where was I before I went on the whole spiel about the heat in my room at times and whatnot? Oh yeah, the field of view for the camera. So, one of the points of feedback that I have gotten on the prototype so far for the camera is that the default, like the absolute default field of view from when the player is not sprinting is too narrow. It doesn't let the player see too much. So, this is one thing we're going to adjust. So I think I'll bring it up to 100. And then the other point was that the field of view when sprinting, even though it, like, you know, increases it, they believe that it should be pulled out even further in terms of, like the field of view. So I'm going to increase it to 120. Just to see, like, how that looks. And because that's, like, being used... I got myself a cooling machine from eBay for, like, £5. You stick some ice cubes in it, and it makes an... Ooh, that sounds nice! The cooling... That sounds cool, actually. I need to get me one of those. That sounds sick. Ooh. That's given me an idea. An idea for a little bit of an investment. And to be fair, I need to start stocking up on proper ice cubes anyway, because I want to start making iced tea again. I did it for the very first time last summer, and I felt like I like really enjoyed I like ice like I up until last year I'd never like tried any kind of iced tea whatsoever. I first tried like Arizona like peach iced tea, which I fucking love that shit. It's really great. And then I tried the Lipton one as well, and that's also good. Then I thought, well, how do I just make this myself in case I just want to, actually control how much of, like, each thing that I put into it, like, control how strong it is or how sweet it is. So I looked it up, and it's like, oh yeah, you do it this way. And then just... I got these plastic cubes that don't actually melt. I just swap them every couple hours, more often at first because the room cools down, or before the room cools down. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I can see where the plastic cubes could be helpful for that kind of thing, but in terms of like drinks and whatnot, I still do just prefer like actual ice. But I found I had like a bit of a taste for trying to make like nice tasting iced tea, so I want to do that again this year because it was a nice little thing for me to mess around with. And the way I described it to friends is like, I'm going to make this fiendish concoction, but but yeah, no, in terms of the field of view, because that's actively set in this method which is called from tick, then by default, these changes will already be reflected on the player character's camera when we, try it out. So already this is very much like it's pulled it like the field of view is wider, though maybe I need to actually not just increase the field of view but also pull the camera a little further out too. Let me actually look back at the feedback. So, oh yeah, no. So, yeah, another bit of feedback was adjusting like how close the camera was to the player because people felt like it was a bit too close. So, where is the camera boom? I need to get rid of that. Target arm length. I'm going to adjust it slightly. Just adjust it by a little bit. So adjust it by 40 for now and see how this looks. And already that looks a lot different. Like with the increased FOV and the camera pulled back a little bit, it definitely feels a lot easier to see things. So yeah, no, that's good. That's looking good. So next part of things, so people were like, the feedback that I got so far in terms of like, because the one of the questions that I asked, so before like, going on to other, like the other movement mechanics for the aerial movement and whatnot, I asked questions about the general movement, so ground movement and so on. I asked about like the sprint, I asked about like the basic movement speed and so on and so forth. Some people said that the default sprint speed like is okay. Well, one person said that it was okay, and another person said that they personally would like it to be a little bit faster, but all in all, it was okay. So Oh gosh. Sprint speed, walk speed. Yeah, it was walk speed. So, do I have walk speed set in the constructor? I think... Yeah, I do. Okay, so... At the moment, in terms of the maximum speeds, or the speed settings for the, like, the normal running / walk and the sprint, we have walk speed, which is 600, and the sprint speed, which is 900. So, I'm going to say a slight increase by about 100. Like, that won't, like, break things too much. At the very least, I don't think it will. So, a slight increase by about 100. Maybe, like, you know, like, see how it feels. Maybe also get more feedback with, like, a revised version of the prototype. And then say, you know, we made these changes. We pulled the camera back. Like, I will do that. Like, this won't be like, oh, this is just, like, the movement mechanics feedback prototype. And, this is the only time we're going to sort of throw this out there, and then we're immediately moving on to the enemies. I will iterate, because iteration is a vital part of the development process, especially when you're trying to test things out and whatnot. I will actively, like, iterate on, like, the feedback that I have been given, make another version of the prototype, and then gather thoughts on the changes that I've made. And, you know, if it's, like, positive feedback, then, like, yeah, it's good. But if there's, like, oh, this needs to be adjusted a little bit more, or some people say this is fine, and other people say, yeah, this can we change this, please? Then it's important to try and find the middle ground, or, like, try and decide between either one. Because you can try to please a lot of people when you're trying to work on things for games and such, but it's not entirely possible to please absolutely everyone. Like, you can either please one, like, sometimes you can either please one crowd or the other, or you please no one, or you can try or you can actually somehow manage to please everyone. It's weird. But yeah, slight increase to the walk speed. And then also looking at the other feedback, one person in particular, well, I say one person in particular, I say one person noted about the sprint speed not being high enough, saying that in some cases they couldn't reach some of the platforms in the test level. So we'll probably go for a slight increase to 1,000 for the sprint speed as well, and we'll see how that feels. So, you know, that's in terms of like basic stuff. There's also like some visual feedback. Hold on, let me rephrase that. Yes. There was one little bit of feedback regarding the increasing field of view effect when sprinting. That while it was okay, some like actual like effect on like say the borders of the screen, like speed lines probably, or something along those lines would help. In terms of what we're trying to emulate, I don't know how I would go about doing that in a way that would work for emulating the graphical style of the PlayStation 1. I don't know if there were like many games on the PlayStation. Hmm. Because the PS1 didn't natively support, like, you know, actually doing speed lines. But some developers did attempt to use software techniques and such in order to try and create, like, this effect to give the impression of speed and whatnot. So definitely something to keep in mind going forward, considering the fact that, you know, in terms of anything, visual feedback is very important. Like, giving visual feedback for the player is important. Okay, right. So, I'm going to compile, so we get these changes thrown into the engine now. Okay, right. So that's all compiled, that's all open now. So in terms of the movement speed, so it's not really easy to notice like the changes to like the base movement speed, but it is slightly faster. And then that's of course like slightly faster sprint speed too. Okay, so we have a slightly... Actually, did I save the changes that I made to the... I did. Okay, I did save the changes. Okay. I was kind of afraid that, oh god, did I actually forget what happened? But, yes, so we have made those changes. Now, the next section in the Google form was regarding the aerial movement, and because, like, I had, like, a whole bunch of questions for that, I essentially split it into two sections, so I did, like, aerial movement part 1 and aerial movement part 2. Just so it wasn't, like, an absolute, like, onslaught of question until the end of the form. I wanted there to be, like, you know, a few questions on one section, and the remaining questions on the other section, just to, like, in case, like, people needed to change their answer and they didn't need to scroll all the way back through as well. So... Okay, so the first little bit of feedback that I got on the aerial movement was to do with the amount of air control. So, while, like, if we go into play mode now, like, while there is, like, a bit of control, there was the feedback that it felt like there was not enough control over the player's movement in the air, and, like, I can kind of feel it in a little way, like, maybe it's not easy to, like, adjust the player, like, from, like, one direction to another when they're moving through the air, especially, like, given the increase in speed, so... It's definitely a thing that I would need to adjust, so maybe we'll bring it up to 0.8, we'll see how that feels, I'll see how it feels as well, but it's also a note to make for... or slightly higher, maybe to 0.85 might be... Hold on just a moment. Right, okay. So 0.85 on the air control I feel might be a bit hello. Ah, we live in the 3D. Ah, I don't know what these cubes are, but I do like these. I do like these cubes that you've graced me with. Hello, come on in. But yeah, no, I think 0.85 for air control works a whole lot better. But, you know, that depends on, like, what little bit of feedback I get from when I make the revised version of the prototype. But yeah, no, I do like how it feels a lot better, but I like the cubes. I like rotating the cubes too. That's very funny. But yes, that's another change made there. So they said we all live in the 3D. Oh, those are ice cubes. Or they're still cubes, but they're very small. We pissed on the floor. Okay. Well, I hope you clean up after yourselves. But yeah, so hold on, I need to get my brain in a bit of a more focused state. We had a revolution instead. You know what? Valid. Perfectly bloody valid. They overthrew me. You hate to see it. Oh no. That sounds like, I mean, that's horrible, but also sounds like a mild skill issue, but maybe in future you won't be overthrown. You know, maybe you'll get your chance. Oh, lordy lord. Alright, my brain. Also the ad break. And we have more cubes! The ad break started about 2.5 minutes, and now we are here. Do not overthrow me, please. I am vibing. Yeah, no. So for the people who are joining just from the raid, hello! Welcome. Make yourselves at home. I should honestly make a command for Nightbot if, like, I'm doing a Game Dev Sunday stream. Worship as he is the creator of goofers. I think being overthrown by the cubes would be fun. You know what? I hadn't thought about it like that. That sounds very fun. It would be funny watching them try. But yeah, no, I should make a command for Nightbot to, like, Rebel Cubes. Yes. Honestly, I don't know why more people don't just make games out of cubes. Like, I know Minecraft exists with blocks and all that jazz, but we need more games where the main character is a cube, your villain is a cube, all your NPCs are cubes, every house is a cube, the world is a cube, the sky is a cube, clouds are cubes. Any and all item is a cube. My protagonist in my game is just cubes. That just sounds amazing. I love that. Cubes have super easy hitboxes too. Yeah, you don't have to worry about, like, the shapes and all that jazz. You just have cube. Have you seen the trailer for the game Cube? I have not. No. But I need to know. It's like 11 years old. Oh! Yeah, Ultra, like, here's the thing, like, if you can make a graphically intense game work in a beautiful way, then that's fine. But I want things to be stylized, god damn it. Like, stylization in terms of art style is king. Also, I'm sorry, the ad break is about to start. I'm gonna go take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Talk about the cubes amongst yourselves, and we'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back, and I guess I completely missed the absolute worship of the cube. God damn it. I missed it. I went to go to the bathroom and also to grab another cup of squash. What the hell? But yeah, no. Damn. That was cool. Wherever the cubes may be. I hope they're doing great. But yeah, no. So now that we're back, some small little changes that I also need to sort of like kind of briefly go over. Like, there's not too much more. Oh god damn it! There was one question I've never added to the Google form when I made it originally. The one thing that I should have stuck at the end of the Google form was, is there anything else you would like to see in future? That's one of the most important things you could ask a playtester. How did I... Like, let me just quickly look at other Google forms I've made for other, like, little projects I've done and tried to get feedback on, because I need to verify if I somehow just managed to just completely skip out on the most important thing. Right, so if I look at this thing from 2 years ago, innovation hard, oh yeah, my closing questions are like, and then please suggest any additional improvements, which is like either additional improvements or things you would like to see. How did I just completely like forget that question on this form? I can tell that I haven't, you know, done this kind of thing in ages, considering the fact that I just kind of blatantly forgot to include that as a question. Wow. Absolutely crazy stuff. So, wow. I am astonished. I don't know how else I can truly, like, punctuate this unless I just constantly repeat it, because at the moment I still haven't made the other things for the PNG, and I want to, but I keep forgetting. I keep getting distracted by doing other things, and also playing other things too. I've been playing a lot of Hades 2 again recently, because the Unseen update came out like literally within the last week, and I've been playing that. And then, because I can't wait for when that gets its full 1.0 release, because, you know, it'll have the actual ending for the story finally implemented and all that jazz. And then there's also the fact that, oh hey, this will be the point when Hades 2 releases on the other platforms, so I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get Hades 2 on Switch, because I did that when Hades 1 had its 1.0 release. I just got it on Switch, and I did not regret doing that whatsoever, even though I already had it on PC prior to that from early access. But I'm going on a bit of a ramble now, in terms of, like, doing stuff. But yeah. There was another point that was kind of made about the aerial movement. If I scroll back down to where I was, oh wait, no, shit, I remember now. It was the wall slide rate. Actually, you know what? Let's go into the player blueprint. Did I make this? I did not. Oh wait, this is on the character movement. Never mind, I need to actually... Oh yeah, I had adjusted this to 3000. originally in the code, if we go back into the code, into the C++, wall slide rate was originally 1,800. I adjusted this when I realized, when I thought, oh wait, this just allows it to slip a little bit too easily. Maybe I should increase this so it's a bit more consistent. And I did that, and it created a more consistent result. However, now, like, one point of feedback is potentially the fact that, yes, this happens a little bit too slowly. Maybe this can be adjusted so that this happens at a slightly faster rate, so it doesn't feel like you're just absolutely, like... And there was also the suggestion of potentially making it so that, oh hey, you have the ability to just make yourself slide down the wall faster. And while this could be, like, a bit of a novel idea, I feel like it would add, like, either another input, which I don't think I can fit, or, you know, make things a bit cumbersome if I was to assign it to, say, the sprint as well. So I'd rather just adjust the wall slide rate alone and go from there. So I'm going to knock it down to maybe 2,600 and then see how that looks. So that's how it looks at 2,600. If I go back to here and I set it back to 300, no, not 300, 3,000, because it was at 3,000 before. At 3,000, it looks like this. So 2,000, let's see 2,400 instead and see if that looks a bit better. Or I might be doing this... Oh, no, wait, hold on. Actually, as an extreme example, let's set this to 5,000. I know there's probably an extent where this just stops. Okay, yeah, no. Setting it to 5,000 as an extreme example does make it go very slow. Okay, so... maybe 2,000. Maybe 2,000 as a baseline. Though this might be to the point where it starts slipping a bit too quickly. Hold on, let's see. Okay, right. That seems a bit better. So, it's still producing consistent results, but at the same time, it's doing so in a way where it doesn't feel like it's too slow to just slide down the wall. So, that's good. That, I could already tell that would feel a lot better in general, but... Gosh. Okay, so... oh, heck. Ow. That didn't feel nice. Right. Okay, right. Feedback. Nice velocity. Okay, so I'm looking through... Okay, right. So, looking through just that little bit more, apparently, according to some of the feedback, they feel like it would be nice if the distance for an air dash was reduced ever so slightly. Where is the thing for air dash? Oh, dash distance. It was dash distance. But I think dash distance is, yep, it's set in blueprints. Right. So if we go back into the editor and we choose... Or is it dash velocity? Is it dash distance or dash velocity? Which one was... Hold on. I'm confused. Wait, where is dash... Okay, so this is just a variable that's never... Did I make two versions of the dash vel... Am I crazy? Oh, wait, whoops. I'm trying to find... So... I'm so confused. Dash distance. So weird! It somehow exists in the editor in Blueprints, but it just doesn't exist in... Where did you come from? And why do you have the same... I'm just not even gonna ask. Like, I don't know how this exists. Anyway, dash distance is the one that we're interested in anyway. So I think a slight decrease to 1,100 or maybe 1,050? Like a decrease of 150 or so, maybe nice? Okay, so maybe a little bit more, maybe just to 1,000. Where are you? There you are. And I'll set this to 1000 just in case this is somehow being used, even though I don't think it is. Because how is this possible? Right, okay. So, next point. Okay. So, the next point, or I'd say the last point for now, is to do with the field of view while wall sliding. And now the reason why I bring this up, let's actually go to the test level. So where is maps? Test level. Okay. So let's actually... It actually does make it easier to make, like... To be fair, I could have just clicked, like... I could have right-clicked where I wanted to start and did, like, play from here, but... Oh, right. To be fair, I hadn't played through the test level for a while since, like... Not to backseat, but if they're gonna keep hopping, should they have wings? Okay, so now I see what they mean. Okay, but then this still feels slow. Ah! Right. Fun times. But in terms of, like... What if it starts slow and then slides faster and faster? Like, that... It could work. Like, it could work. Like, rather than having, like, it be statically set. Let me think. My brain... I'm not in the CPP. Whoops. You step to wall, B wall sliding. So V interp to constant. And then wall slide rate. Okay, this would have to be... Yeah, right. I have it. I think I have it. So... So this is going to be void set interp wall slide speed. float delta time, because this will be a tick method. Though I definitely want a maximum. I definitely want a max wall slide speed that it will reach. Because if we just kept, like, or I say, like, a max wall... I'd say, like, in terms of how it's being measured, or in terms of how, like, often it, like, that interp is happening, it would have to decrease the rate at which it interpolates. So... yeah, it would have to decrease the rate at which it interpolates, because then that would allow it to fall faster. So in here, where is wall slide rate? There we go. Anywhere, blueprint read only. And this is also going into... I could have copied the U property macro. Why didn't I do that? I just kind of forgot to do that, but that's fine. So, this is going to be... and it'll be called min wall slide rate. Where did I set in... yep, I need to create the definition now. So generate definition, do stuff here. And now if I go to where tick is... so, wall slide, set interp FOV, that's set interp movement speed, wall slide. To be fair, I only want this to happen. So, sec interp wall slide speed. And then I'll throw in delta time. But then in this method, so set interp wall slide speed. If be wall sliding, then return, because I don't want anything happening while they're not wall sliding, because otherwise that would not make sense and just wouldn't work. So, sorry about that. Oh wait, and now I need to actually... silly me, I need to make another variable! Wall slide rate. Yep. So I need wall slide rate, then I need... I mean, I have the minimum one, but then I need a starting one. So float starting wall slide rate. And then by default, when the game starts, or whenever wall sliding stops, then it's reset to its default wall slide rate. So, wall slide rate equals fmath finterp 2. So wall slide rate, min wall slide rate, delta time, and then I need a speed at which this happens. So copy the U property again, even though I think I already had it in memory in the on the clipboard. So float Wall slide rate change speed. Wall slide change rate, or rate change speed. And then over time, that will just slowly increase. Right. So that should be okay enough. And then in the... So in wall slide, else, then... I know I could make a method for this, but I could just do it here. So wall slide rate equals starting wall slide rate. And I think I could also just do it here as well. There we go. Right. I need to find begin play. Oh, whoops. Then at the bottom, wall slide rate equals starting wall slide rate. Oh, whoopsie daisy. Okay, now I'm gonna close the engine because I should have done that a while ago. But it's fine, because I'm doing it now. Also, going back to earlier, like, I don't mind people, like, giving, like, ideas or suggestions. Like, I will say it now. I do welcome, ideas and suggestions, especially if it's stuff that may or may not, help with, making things look and feel good to play. So I do welcome the input from people. It's the reason why like I made the prototype in the first place, to get feedback from people, to get input from people. So I do want to take people's like inputs and ideas into consideration. So yeah. Hold on a moment. Sorry, just taking care of a thing. Just one more moment. Right, there we go. Okay, so compile, get that all sorted. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, that's all compiled. There we go. So we go back into the player. Where are you? Yep. So if you go wall sliding, because that's its whole category now. So we have wall slide rate. We have starting wall slide rate. So I'm going to keep that as 1,900. But the minimum wall slide rate, I will say maybe I want it to be 1,000. Now, the speed at which I want it to change, we'll try 1 as a minimum. Because that may just be like 1 every second, but that may actually be a bit too slow now that I think about it. So, how about 20? We'll go for 20 every second. And then we'll see how that works out. Okay, on a short wall, I really can't tell the difference. I'm gonna click play from here. Where is the rat player? Check details, then. Okay, that doesn't seem right. Oh, wait, I'm stupid. I messed up. I have messed up. I meant to say if not be wall slide. How did I? It's funny when you accidentally do the things like just unintentionally. Like I had not intended for that. Right, that's all compiled now, so that should be working as it should. Oh, hold on. I needed to reset this video. There we go. Right, okay. This should be working properly now. I should also double check to make sure that I saved these settings. So, wall... I did. Cool. Okay, so... Click play. We're gonna find... Rat player. I'm gonna find wall slide. Yep, we got wall slide rate. Okay. Okay, I don't think it's even happening at all now. I'm trying to think what part of this is causing problems. Also use a UE_log temp warning text. And also to double check. Yeah, the rate change speed is 20, so... Weird. So, compile this now that I have the log doing that stuff. Now, this is going to be the interesting part where we find out whether or not it's actually, you know, triggering this method. Like, it should be. Or it was when I accidentally made it, you know, do things incorrectly. Okay, so it's just not calling it at all. Right. Set interp. Yeah, set interp wall slide speed is there. So I am trying to call it from tick, and it should be doing that. But whatever is happening with that boolean, somehow... Right. Will be wall sliding. At the moment, I can't trace this. So, new property, visible anywhere. Wall sliding, and then meta equals... Which may not be entirely necessary, but this is just to be safe. I'll compile that again. And we're going to see if this actually lets me track whether or not this boolean is being... It should be set. Like... Like, it's so weird. This should be set as this is happening. So... So, I know I could easily track this by doing debug mode from the editor. Not from the editor, from the IDE, but this is working faster for me. So, wall sliding. Right, there we go. So, if we... Okay, so it is not being set. Right, okay, so we're slowly figuring things out. Concerning things, but it's fine. Fine, it's fine. So back into the code. Oh, whoops. So why is it never This is genuinely like, how is this happening? I am confuzzle. So apparently, according to this is never set. So, wall slide target found. Because of course, like, B should play wall slide sound. Like, this whole section is being triggered. This section is triggered the first time it detects, like, the wall. And it snaps the player's rotation to face the wall. But I'm trying to fathom what's going on. So B wall sliding. Sorry, I was answering Unreal Forum's question. What seems to be... No problem. So what it is that... Like, I gotta head out. Best of luck. Thank you ever so much for stopping by. Have a good rest of your day or night, depending on where you are. But yeah, no. The weird thing, so the rest of, like, my wall slide stuff works. Like, it plays the wall slide sound. It sets the velocity, of course. For some reason, even though, like, I have this line set here to set, this boolean to true, from what I've observed in the editor, this does not appear to be the case. If I go, into the player, and I go into wall sliding, this is the boolean in particular, it just never sets to true, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's a case of... Like, ideally, this should be setting that boolean to true, but it's not, which is strange. Aren't you always setting it to false at the end? Like... Hold on. Like, this shouldn't exist outside of the... Does this exist outside of the... Oh, it does. Huh. Okay, good... Yeah, good point, good point. Whoops. Though this is where it possibly breaks somehow, but we will find that out. We will find that out together, chat. Right, we'll close the engine. We'll recompile. Oh, wait. Okay, that happens very quickly. Happens very quickly. So first things first, where is Rep Player? Change speed, I'll set that to 1 instead. And then I think on land, I need to do a thing. So, yeah, no. Another adjustment to make. I'll keep that there in case I need to reset some things. So, yep, landed. So, there. Not the most elegant solution, but it works. It works. Right. Engine is open. And now, let's see. Let me think. It's wall. So now change speed. Unless that's like 1 every frame, in which case I should do it at 0.25 and see how that works. Okay. This needs to be lower. 0.01. We'll see if 0.01 works. Because it still goes quickly. What do you mean that's still very quick? Like, surely, like, at the rate of 1,000th, this doesn't do it too quickly. Okay, that feels better. That feels... It's because that wall is short, to be fair. So that probably didn't help. To be fair, I was testing with the wrong wall. Why was I using that wall? That's such a bad wall to test it with. Right, we'll bring it back up to 0.25. And also something I also forgot to do in the landing, that needs to be done too. B snapped, has snapped a wall equals false. Because I need to reset the wall snapping, because otherwise it doesn't do it. Right. Whew. Now, if we go here... Play from here. We'll keep an eye on rat. Oh, whoops. Rat player. Wall. Slide. Close that because that's annoying me. And then... Okay, that happens very quickly. So 0.25 is still too quick, in my opinion. Or at the very least, I feel like we also need to readjust some things. So, wall slide rate, I'll bring it back to 2,200. And I'll set the starting one to 2,200. Set this to, not to 0.1, to 0.01. And I can't remember where I was. There we go. It's like, yeah, it's finding that sweet spot, because once we have it, it's golden. It's absolutely golden. This might be it. Hold on. You could try adding delay until next tick. Not sure how it's done in C++. I'm not sure how to do it either. I would have to look into that. I would definitely have to look into that. This feels... Hold on. I think we have it. Like, this feels... Like, this wall slide feels nice now. It doesn't feel too slow and sluggish. It naturally just picks up. And it doesn't, you know, do it at a way that, like, at a rate that feels too quick. Chat, I think we got it. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, granted, you need to actually like... Hell yeah. I am so happy with this. Yippee! Only a break. I will quickly be right back. Okay, I'm back. Right. So, because I said it would be a short Game Dev Sunday today, I'll be wrapping things up soon. But reading what you just said, if you're using custom animations for the wall slide, you could explore anim notifiers for generating sounds similar to footsteps on a different surface type. Yeah, no, I am looking in... The thing that I want to eventually do is actually make the animations, because at the moment I don't have animations for the wall slide. I don't have animations for specifically wall jumping, because that would be nice to have, because like in other games like Mario and whatnot where you have wall jumps and such, you have a specific wall jump animation. There's no animation for the air dash. There's no animation for the stomp. There's no animation for the player's like projectile attack either. And I want to be able to work on these eventually, because it was one of the consistent points brought up in the feedback for the prototype that there was no animation for certain actions, so it made it difficult to tell what was happening at times. And like like, I do, like, I am, like, sad about that because, like, I want to be able to try and convey that to people in a way that's understandable. So I do want to work on animations at some point. Sorry about that. Because here's the thing, like, as you can possibly tell, like, the player character is rigged, although, you know, albeit in a weird way. Like, I say in a weird way, it's from where, like, Unreal animations were remapped to this character's skeleton, because I was using these animations, like the idle animation, the run animation, and jump animation and such, as essentially placeholders for the time being, until I'm able to properly animate stuff. So that is on my list. That stuff is on my list. Like, custom animations, and then possibly using anim notifiers for things. Yeah, no. Like, I am aware of, like, anim notifiers and whatnot, but it's, like, actually finding the time to, you know, learn how to do it in Blender, because I have the model rigged and all that jazz. It's actually learning the process of doing it from scratch, which is, in my opinion, daunting and kind of terrifying. So, it's kind of terrifying in my opinion. So it's just working myself up to just, you know, tackle it and get on with it. Animation is where I was defeated time and time again. Yeah, no, when you say things like that, it's like, Because here's the thing, it took me long enough to properly, like, get around to rigging this model, and then starting to make the textures and unwrapping textures and whatnot. I feel like once I learn to pass this one obstacle, then it becomes a bit easier to bear when I eventually have to animate enemies and the like. So I keep saying to myself, one day I'll do it, but I haven't done it yet. But I will do it. I will 100% do it. Because it is important. It is vital. It needs to be done. So, this is the promise I make to you, chat, and people watching things back. This will be done. This will guaranteed 100% be done. In the future, of course. Either on stream or off stream. But yeah, no, as I was saying, because it is, of course, a shorter Game Dev Sunday, I will be wrapping up here. I will be raiding a stream. I raided this channel before, previously. So we'll be raiding them in, like, a few moments' time. And the reason why I'm making it a shorter stream sometimes for Game Dev Sunday is because the shorter bursts are a lot easier for me to bear, rather than just, you know, trying to do things for an entire 4 hours compared to, say, a playthrough stream or whatnot. I think it's just a learning curve. I usually like the time to stay consistent with it. Yeah, no, it's like the learning curve is probably the most difficult thing about it. Like, once I manage to slowly make my way with the learning curve, it will be great, but it's finding the time and also trying to motivate myself and keep myself from being, thanks for the stream, bug squash, progress made, solid. Like, that's the great thing. Like, we're making progress, and as long as people, like, enjoy, like, sitting through the process of it, then, like, and also, like, seeing what I work on, like, that, it's great. It's great in that way. But to people who have been watching today, and to people watching things back, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this, thank you ever so much for being here for this shorter session. I really appreciate it. The next stream will be tomorrow. We'll be back with more Chrono Trigger. We'll be doing more of that. We got still, like, a lot to get through with that game. But I'm slowly getting more into it, which is good. But yes, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, wait, I meant slash raid. Yeah, take care. Hope to see you again soon. Yeah, hope to see you again soon. I meant to raid. I meant to raid. Right, we're raiding. See you. Bye.